Good morning, 7th graders. Today we're looking at the exterior angles of a triangle. So our topic for today is identify the exterior angles of a triangle. Okay, now the essential question for today, I want us to be thinking, first of all, what is an exterior angle? Of a triangle. And then how do we find the measure of that angle? Okay, so let's start with that first question, which is, what is it? Okay, so here's the definition for exterior angle of a triangle. So an exterior or an angle, the exterior angle of a triangle is an angle between a side of a triangle and the extension of its adjacent side. And then we can add just a little bit more information about it. It is formed by extending a ray from one side of the triangle. So let's go ahead and draw a diagram so that we can name the exterior angle of it. Okay, so the definition said an angle between the side of the triangle and extension of its adjacent side. So here's the extension of its adjacent side, and here's the side of the triangle. So this angle that we've created right here is called the exterior angle. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at a different type of angle that we are not aware of yet, and that's called the remote interior angles of a triangle. Okay, so let's go ahead and define this now. It is the two angles that are non-adjacent to the specified exterior angle. So let's go back to our drawing here and take a look at where our remote interior angles are. If our exterior angle is right here, the adjacent angle to the exterior angle is this one right here. But our definition said the two angles that are non-adjacent. So since this one is adjacent to the exterior angle, then these two angles right here and here are the non-adjacent angles. So we can label these. These are the remote interior angles. Okay, so this is going to lead really well into the exterior angle theorem. We're going to discover a truth about these types of angles that's going to allow us to solve problems given these angles. So let's go ahead and before we move on to any of actually solving for these angles, we're going to look at the exterior angle theorem. I apologize, my dog is pacing around the table while I'm trying to film this. I hope it is not too loud for you. Okay, so the exterior angle theorem is the measure of the exterior angle of a triangle is equal to the sum of the measures of the two remote interior angles of a triangle. Okay. So what this is saying, let's read it one more time. The measure of the exterior angle, this angle right here, is equal to the sum of the measures of the two remote interior angles. So it's saying you add these up, the value of these two remote interior angles together is the same or is equal to the measure of the exterior angle. So let's go ahead and flip our paper over and let's look at an example of this. It will make so much more sense once we talk through it. Okay, so let's go ahead and draw out an example. It does help when you are taking your notes if you use a straight edge to do your examples. That way you can really see what was happening in that problem, and when you look back at it, you're basically creating a textbook. When you take notes, you are putting in all the definitions, putting in examples, things for you to go back and look at when you are preparing for a quiz, when you're studying for a test, when you're just getting ready to move on to the next concept, just being able to look back and say, okay, do I have this? Do I remember these definitions? Do I know how to complete these examples? Okay, let's go ahead and give this triangle and our exterior angles, we're going to name it all. Okay, in this case, we're going to call our exterior angle x degrees. One of our interior angles, we're going to give it a 21 degree measure, and then this angle right here, we're going to call this 132 degrees. And for this problem, we want to find this missing angle. Now, let's talk about a few things. We already know that the sum of all the measures of a triangle is 180 degrees. And we also know that these angles right here are supplementary. They add to 180 degrees. Okay, so this time we're gonna first use our triangle. I'll show you here. We're gonna have 21 degrees plus 132 degrees plus, we'll name this y since we already have x on the other side, plus y degrees is equal to 180 degrees. So we're just going to focus on this portion of it right now, just the triangle portion. And we're going to see if we can find that missing angle. So this is going to be 153 degrees plus y degrees is equal to 180 degrees. Going to subtract 153 degrees from both sides. So I get y degrees is equal to 27 degrees. Okay? So we're saying that this angle is 27 degrees. We're taking the long way around right now. We're not using the theorem quite yet. We're going to show how to get to x just using what we know about triangles and supplementary angles. So now that I know that y is 27 degrees, y and x are supplementary, which means they add to 180 degrees. Since I know that y is 27 degrees, we can set up an equation. We're going to subtract 27 degrees from both sides. We get x is equal to 153 degrees. Now we're going to test out our theorem. Our theorem said that this exterior angle should equal the measure of these two interior angles added up, the sum of them. So let's go ahead and set that up. We had this exterior angle right here is 21 degrees. This exterior angle is 132 degrees. And we calculated using what we know about triangles and supplementary angles that x is 153 degrees. So let's make sure this is true. It is. Look at that. Okay, so what that means is that our exterior angle theorem that we wrote on the other side is true. So we can skip all of these steps in the middle. We know that these two remote interior angles, the sum of them is the measure of our exterior angle. So now let's do an example without all of that extra work in there, just using the theorem. I'm going to do my example a little bit small just the way so that I have some room for some practice problems underneath this. I'm sorry if it's hard to see. Okay, so let's say that this angle is 16 degrees. This angle is x, and this angle is 143 degrees. Okay, so you have your two remote interior angles and your exterior angle. So our theorem says that the sum of these, the sum of the measure of these angles equals the sum, or equals the measure of the exterior angle. So let's go ahead and set this equation up. 16 degrees plus x degrees is equal to 143 degrees. Okay. So now let's go ahead and solve for x. So we have x degrees is equal to 127 degrees. Okay, and we didn't do all this work right here, but we've proven the theorem and we used the theorem and we found that x is equal to 127 degrees. Now let's go ahead. I would like you to get some practice in. I'm going to put two problems here. Again, I'm going to do them a little bit small so you have room for your equations here. I do want to see you writing out your equations on your quizzes and tests, and it's a good idea also to do them on the notes so that you know what you did to solve these. Okay, so let's say that this angle is 93 degrees. This angle, 31 degrees, and this angle is x degrees. Go ahead and find x on that problem. And then let's take a look here. Okay, I purposely did a problem that had an extra line on it. I'm going to show you how to handle that in just a moment. Okay, just because there's this extra line here, nothing has changed. Just imagine that it's not there. These two angles are your remote interior angles. This is your exterior angle. I would like you to pause the video for a moment and try these problems, and then we'll come back in just a moment and solve them. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at your problems and see how you did. We have our two remote interior angles. So this is x plus 31 degrees. And then this is your exterior angle is 93 degrees. Then we're going to go ahead and solve for x. And we get that x is equal to 62 degrees. Now let's go ahead and try this problem here. We have our two remote interior angles, 2x plus 3x. And then our exterior angle is 120 degrees. So let's combine like terms here and solve for x. We get that x is equal to 20, what is that? It's early, my brain is not working properly. There we go, 24. So x is equal to 24 degrees, okay? So let's go ahead and wrap up what we did here. I know that I haven't been good about having you write your summaries. I'm gonna just, we modeled writing a summary yesterday together, and I'll go ahead and model again today since I'm not with you, but eventually I want you to be looking back at your notes, reading them through, and then summarizing the information on your own. So today I'm going to keep it brief. We can say that we learned the sum of the two remote interior angles of a triangle is equal to the measure of the exterior angle. Okay, so this basically just sums up the important information for this lesson. We were able to learn our new theorem, the exterior angle theorem, and we found that the sum of the two remote interior angles of a triangle is equal to the measure of the exterior angle. I hope this went well for you today. Make sure that you are doing your homework tonight, that you're getting some practice in on this skill, and I will see you tomorrow.